few minutes later, Lee's parents left with the ambulance, and the teacher let out a sigh as she watched them leave. Then she pulled out her cell phone and called someone. It was Xiaozhou's father. Once the call was answered, he asked the teacher if he had heard about Lee's death. After learning that the news had spread through the school, Chao's dad walked slowly into the police station. He came to the officer with a serious face and said, "I'm calling the police. My daughter is missing." The officer is shocked. "Are you her father?" Chao's dad was stunned when he heard this. Then he laughed strangely and stared straight at the police officer. "Is a man like me a father?" The officer thought Chao's dad was joking. "Tell him to get serious immediately." After a definitive answer, he asked Chao's dad again, "When was the last time you saw your daughter?" Chao's dad smiles. "Can't remember exactly, because I'm too busy working several jobs." The officer immediately asked him what he did for a living. Chao's dad blurted out "doctor." But as soon as he said it, he immediately changed it to "I do menial work. It's the kind of work that dads do." And then he looked up at the ceiling. An evil grin spreads across his face. But as he laughed, he suddenly fell silent. Chao's dad looks down at the constable. "I thought it over. The daughter should have run away from home." After saying that, he ignored the surprised officers and left the police station directly. Xiao, who had been immersed in Lily's death, didn't know that his father was actually like this. It wasn't until she heard footsteps coming through the door that she came back to her senses, turning her head toward the closed iron door. A thought occurs to her. Xiao sneaks up to the iron gate, a hand coming in. She stepped on it instantly, but the crunchy touch makes her a little confused. But Xiao still stomps hard on the man's hand, because of the excellent memory. She only had to look at the man's hand to guess who it was. But when she bent down to remove her gloves, she was dumbfounded. That palm is a puppet. Realizing he's been played, Xiao immediately picks up the pieces of paper on the floor. She then realizes that her every move is being watched by that man, as Xiao wonders what playing hide-and-seek means. The door suddenly creaks. Xiao looks at the open door with shock. Through the doorway, she smells the pervasive odor of medicine. Saw the dimly lit hallway. She knew it had to be another one of that man's tricks, but her feet went out uncontrollably. After making sure there's nothing out of the ordinary, she accelerates instantly, running downstairs at a fast pace, feeling the warmth of the sun. She was then convinced that she was really out. Xiao runs again, after identifying her location by a sign on the side of the road. Even if there are people on the side of the road, she didn't choose to call for help, because she was afraid the man was with the Misterons, but she ran too fast and fell. Suddenly a child came up to her, points his finger to one side. "Sister, someone said he's waiting for you over there. If you want to see who he is, go over there. If not, run away." Xiao looks in the direction of the boy's finger. She sees a man at the bus stop in the distance. Xiao gets up and runs away. She's not stupid. She didn't get very far before she saw a cab. Xiao is shocked. But after seeing the other downtown signs on the bus, there's an evil grin on her face right away. Thought it was an oversight on the part of the mystery man. I got on the bus without much suspicion. With a smile on his face, he reminds the driver to slow down when he passes the bus stop, then go straight to G Road. The vehicle drove to the bus stop in a short time. The man suddenly reaches for the bus. The driver asks Xiao if he wants to take him. Xiao hurriedly begs and refuses. And with that, the car slowly drove towards the mysterious man. The man's appearance gradually became clear. Xiao is also getting excited, but when she saw the man's face, she was too shocked to speak. She didn't recognize the yellow-haired man in front of her, and the man, seeing that there was someone in the car, sat back down on the platform seat. Xiao sees that yellow hair is not interested in her. She can't help but suspect that this is another one of the Misteron's tricks. "I'm starting to worry about whether or not I'm going to make it out of here." It wasn't until the vehicle drove far past the bus stop that her hanging heart dropped. Just when Xiao thinks she's escaped, the car comes to a sudden stop. The driver locks the door and turns around with an evil grin and says, "Little guy, you're still too naive." Xiao looks at the older woman in surprise and asks who she is. When she found out that this lady was the one who brought her food, Xiao was so scared that he trembled all over, thought she was the mysterious person who locked her up, but the older woman said she was just paid to be there. The boss is someone else. Xiao realizes he's been played again. She fights to pull open the car door and escape. The older woman smiles slightly at this. "From the moment you got in the car, the game of hide-and-seek is over." Then she pulled the spray out of her pocket, turns around and grabs Xiao by the collar. "Here's your reward for losing." One last reminder to Xiao, Lei's log has been updated. Then she sprayed it at her horrified face. Immediately after that, the older woman drove her vehicle back downstairs, ready to return the unconscious Xiao to the chamber. But as soon as she got out of the car, a voice came from behind her.